And this morning we chat to a lovely gentleman who I haven't chatted to in a little while. Chris Cheney from The Living End. Good morning, sir.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Good. How have you been?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm a bit homesick, but I'm well, thank you.
Well, that's the next question. Where have you been?
We've been in Hoboken, New Jersey, home of Frank Sinatra, for 6 weeks, and we're currently in Atlanta mixing the record.
Great.
Now, this new record for The Living End that you've been working on, it's with a guy called John Agnello, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And he's done some pretty awesome records over the years. He's worked with Sonic Youth in the past, and We Are Scientists, and Dinosaur Jr.
And The Breeders, and The Hold Steady. He did The Hold Steady's last album, which sounded amazing. How much fun did you have in New Jersey?
Well, he was a really good choice, actually. I mean, I'm aware of those records, but I wouldn't say that I'm really big fans of those bands. But what we did like was the fact that the bands all sounded very kind of like the band, and it sounded very organic. It didn't sound overproduced. It just sounded like he'd captured what they did, and it was really important for us on this record just to get in there and play and get someone just to kind of press record. But we didn't know what he was going to be like as a guy, but he was top. He was almost like a father figure, you know. He was really kind of really helpful with everything, and bought us dinner. And
so there's lots of pipe smoking and male bonding with there.
Actually,
Yeah,
he seems to be a big fan of you, Chris, and The Living End as well. He writes in his blog that it's been a pleasure so far, and the boys are really wonderful, and it's great working with talented guys. But it also mentions that you've been cooking dinner for him too.
Well, Scott and Andy did, yeah. They finished tracking, and then normally they just sit around on the couch getting fat. But they decided that they would, in the downtime while I was doing guitars and vocals for the next couple of weeks, that they would go and cook each night. So
and get everyone else fat.
Special.
Yeah, well, Marieke and I have both witnessed Andy's cooking at the Shepherd's Pie Classic at the Corner Hotel in Melbourne, and he can cook up quite a storm. Do you know what Scott and Andy made for you?
They did. First night was a risotto. Then we had a lamb roast. And yeah, we had, the assistant and John Agnello. They couldn't believe it. I don't think any band had ever cooked for him before. not by award-winning chefs, anyway.
Are you telling me that Jay Massis from Dinosaur Jr. didn't cook up food for John Agnello? I'm absolutely shocked.
Apparently not.
Now, you guys are talking to Chris Cheney here from The Living End, and we do have a very special little announcement very soon. Before you went to record these songs, you did a few secret little shows.
Yeah, we did. We were going to do a couple, but it ended up being 2 weeks' worth. And we wanted to go into the studio and be able to play the songs like they felt like old songs. And we figured the only way we can do that is to kind of get out there and road test them and get in front of an audience each night and just play them and, see if they actually work or they don't. Like trial by fire. So we did 2 weeks' worth of shows, and it was great. We were really confident about the songs. We went away from those gigs feeling really, really great about the tunes. So then when we got into the studio, we just kind of went through the motions. We just played them like we were playing live, and they didn't feel like new songs. They kind of felt they'd been worked in.
But you played under the fake name The Long Necks, which you've done a few times. Does anyone still just come to these gigs thinking they're going to see an unknown band called The Long Necks playing?
I think they did in Wangaratta, because I'm not sure how many shows they get up there.
What was the reaction in Wangaratta? Who are these bloody dickheads?
Yeah, they look like The Living End, but they don't sound as good. No, it was kind of cool, After the first few songs, people realised that we weren't going to play any of our old stuff, that you were basically going to get an hour and a quarter of all new tunes. And it was kind of a bit nerve-wracking in a way, but people really dug it. Once they got the idea, it was like, you don't get to see that kind of every day. And so we kind of figured that we'd get up there and do that, and perhaps we'd get out of the venue alive, perhaps we wouldn't.
Yes, we don't often get to see a band play a bunch of songs that no one's ever heard, and they're not that good at playing them yet. Definitely quite a treat.
I know. It's really quite a stupid idea.
All right, Chris Cheney from The Living End. He's in Atlanta at the moment, where The Living End have just recorded a new record. We are very lucky this morning to be able to give you the opportunity to hear, I think the first people anywhere outside of the studio to hear the new Living End album, because we've got a sneak preview of it.
Outside of the studio and Wangaratta.
And Wangaratta, of course, but how it actually sounds on tape too. A song from the album. This is called How Do We Know. Anything you want to tell us about this track, Chris, before we listen to it? And also it's going to be available from download from today as well on the Triple J website, just for a very short period of time. Yeah, what do you want to tell us about How Do We Know, Chris?
This was one of the first songs when we were demoing, and this was kind of the first song where there was a definite direction change, and it definitely signalled this album was going to be different to what we'd done before. There was a heaviness to it that we hadn't really explored too much before, and the record kind of evolved from this song. You know, I mean, I think it's a pretty good indication of what the record is about. It actually has strings on it, which is not a good indication because there's only a couple of songs on the record with strings. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of different for us, but it feels really great, and we're super excited. So we just wanted to get it out there and get people to hear it as soon as possible. It's been a long time coming, so turn it up.
The Living End on Triple J, brand new exclusive song from the new album White Noise. How Do We Know?
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.